A virus is not living because the composition of a virus is missing one of the characteristics of living things, which is a cell. It has all other characteristics, so 6 of the 7, but because it does not have a cell, it's not considered a living thing. Sometimes I always question if that could change. Like, can the characteristics of living things change? Because a virus definitely, in most people's opinion, is kind of a living thing. Like, it does everything a living thing does, except doesn't have one of its structures. But here are the most important structures, or a common structure that all viruses have. So if you didn't nail these 3, you already know there was something missing from your presentation if you were a virus. Number 1, it's going to contain RNA and DNA. Number 2, a protein coat. And number 3, a lipid layer. The protein coat is what they call a capsid. And I put RNA or DNA, you could put nucleic acid in general, because it's going to have one form of nucleic acid. This picture definitely needs to be adjusted. If I mention, I froze. Shots of a video. If I mention virus cycle, who can tell me what I'm referencing? Virus is what? Reproduction. So how a virus reproduces? And it reproduces 2 ways. Anybody know the names? Perfect. Lytic and lysogenic. One is kind of like a dormant reproductive stage, and a virus can be in that stage for its entire existence. I wouldn't say life because it's not living. The other one is where the virus is actually going to cause more damage. So if you look at the pictures, the one to the right or your left is showing a virus coming in, injecting its nucleic acid, and then it becomes incorporated into the host cell's DNA. So they form like what's called a viral DNA. Now from that, it could somehow turn into an active stage, which is the lytic. And I'm going to go over each one. I'm going to show you a video first, and then I'm going to explain. So what's the first thing that happens in... Oh, I'm frozen again. This is a nightmare. So what's the first thing that happens in the lytic cycle? Before that. Virus attaches itself to the host cell, and this is called absorption. So you can put virus attaches to host cell. Sometimes a virus spends its entire time looking for a host cell and swimming around your body. Then what happens, Christopher? They call that entry, inserts its nucleic acid. He said DNA, could be DNA or RNA, depending on the virus. Then what happens? What's happening in that third picture?
The DNA from the virus is incorporating into the DNA of this host cell.
No, this is lytic. Whoops. It's replicating. Replication occurs. What replicates? All virus parts. So name me the 3 things that are replicating. Name the 3 things. Nucleic acid, lipids, and the protein. The 3 major parts, there's more, but that's what you have to reference. So it's going to make new lipids, it's going to make new proteins, it's going to make new nucleic acid. Yep, lytic. Then what happens? So viral parts were made, what's next? They assemble, assembly. They assemble, and then, I don't know where the notes are here, let me see. Oh, here. They assemble, so they kind of put the little parts together, making from one virus 4 in this case. And then, I'll go back in a minute. The virus releases by producing a chemical that causes the cell to burst, and all the new viruses are going where? To new host cells. To do what? The same thing. So during the lysogenic, we've got a type of reproduction where the The cell's still affected by the virus, but the virus is like in a dormant state, okay? So this is like the virus somewhat sleeping. Same start. What's the start? Attaching or absorption, because the virus kind of absorbs itself into the cell's membrane, okay? And then what happens? Injects or inserts entry of DNA or RNA. So the difference becomes, or is in the third part. The virus, DNA or RNA, incorporates into the host DNA. The virus, you see right here in the picture, this red piece is the viral DNA, and the blue is the actual DNA of the host cell. And it embeds itself or becomes part of the host DNA. The cell will then replicate, which is what cells do, and they'll replicate with incorrect DNA, which you know can lead to all sorts of problems. Because when your DNA doesn't have the correct coding, your protein production is going to be off, your cell's function is going to be off. So it's already bad, even though the virus isn't really replicating into new viruses. The DNA can become active at some point, and as the video said, it's as simple as UV light can cause this to happen. And then the virus will enter the lytic cycle. So what will happen next? If the virus enters the lytic cycle, what's the next point? Not assemble. Replication will be next, then assembly, and then everything that follows.
So there's just like one extra step.
So what determines whether a virus is going to like cause damage? Viruses are very, very specific, even though we're learning that they transform somewhat. Like, let's say the swine flu, right? It was specific to what? And now all of a sudden but we're so similar in that sense that I don't see such, you know, it being unrealistic. But 3 factors are definitely dependent on whether a virus can attack. And one is, whoops, why is that not moving? Because I'm at pen mode. So, it's going to depend on the site for it to attach. It's also going to depend on the speed at which a virus multiplies or mutates and how well we fight it. So all these things are what's going to determine whether the virus can cause a disease. When you have a virus, you have a virus forever. It's for life. Your body will constantly fight it if the immune system is strong enough. And there's some viruses that your body cannot fight. So you need additional factors to help you fight.